and then we had REAC, Real Estate Agency Council, and Rent Control. Each of these presentations provided a framework of regulating our built environment. The Engineering Council raised issues in respect of the fees that they are charging and said that the fees are not adequate, which is making it difficult for them to operate. They tie that with inadequate funding, and so obviously when the funds are not available, it makes their operations difficult in terms of delivering their mandate. They also raise issues about the need to embark on sensitization programs so people can appreciate what the Engineering Council is doing and their roles. And then also issues around enforcement of the industry regulation. And then we took a presentation from the Architecture Registration Council led by Dr. Titus Ebenezer Kofi. The presentation clearly indicated that there's a need for us to amend the existing Architects Act, NLCD 357, which was enacted in 1969. And he said that it's been more than 50 years, and that he's not sure he himself he was born around that period. And so, given the evolving nature of the field, there is a need to ensure that we bring an act that is responsive to the emerging areas in the architect space. The issue around temporary registration, conference is of the view that the temporary registration is not equitable, and so we want to ensure that we provide full recognition to local architects who are qualified. The need to build the capacity of Architecture Registration Council was emphasized, and also the need to build collaboration, in addition to ensuring that we bridge the gap between research and policy. The third presentation was done by the Chief Executive of Real Estate Agency Council. The presentation highlighted the need for stakeholder engagement and mentioned the need to promote and facilitate cashless transaction, to ensure that we can deal with issues around money laundering and the rest, and also to ensure effective regulations. The Council intends to establish a consumer unit to address issues that confront the users of that space. There are reports of people paying huge sums of monies to real estate agents, and unfortunately they are not able to find them, or they are not able to get the building that they were promised as far as the contractual obligations are concerned. So they want to set up that unit to ensure that people will have a platform to make such complaints and get a quick practical solutions to the consumers. Then the fourth presentation was done by Mr. Emmanuel Posu, and in relation to the rent control department. They talked about the maximum rent system capping the maximum amount that can be charged for rent advance. Then the strict standards that needs to be set in respect of rental accommodation, and then also the type or kind of properties that can be rented out, and the introduction of rent assessment committees to assist in the assessment of recoverable rent. And the big issue which rent control is dealing with is how efficiently people can report issues to the rent office, and they are doing so through digitalization. So people can sit at the comfort of their homes, lodge a complaint through the digital platform, and a rent officer or a rent manager will be assigned to that person, a date fixed for hearing, and life becomes easy for everybody instead of traveling to the rent office to do that. So they've talked about that, and then also establishment of a rent day and stakeholder engagement and sensitization. Ladies and gentlemen, obviously all the discussions we have today clearly indicates that we have a problem to deal with in respect of our regulatory system, and to be able to ensure that we have a safer, secured built environment, we need to tighten and enhance our regulatory quality, ensure that compliance and enforcement of statutory provisions and regulatory laws are emphasized, and to the extent that we can all live in a safe environment. So on this note, I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to give you the takeaways for today. Thank you.
A job well done by the chairperson of the Bench 2024 Planning Committee. Put your hands together one more time, Dr. Prince Hamid Ahmad. And so he has the last words for today, but a few announcements before he comes. We have Google Forms that will be sent to your emails via the text numbers, the phone numbers that you registered with. So please do check your emails and do well to complete the assessment forms before close of day tomorrow. We'll be mighty glad to have your feedback by close of day tomorrow. Additionally, all the presentations along with an e-brochure will be sent to your email. How about that? Isn't that good news? Please, a round of applause. And so, since good laws must be backed by good arms, it's important that we know the way forward with this conference. Help me welcome our host, yours and mine, the Honorable Kojo Oponkrumah. Sit here.
Thanks, man. Thank you very much, Jerry. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. There's an old African saying that one person cannot wrap his or her hands entirely around a baobab tree. You would need to hold hands, and a collection of persons will be able to build a proper circle around a baobab tree. I'm informed what it really means is that when you have a fully fledged problem, one person cannot solve it. You need a collection of persons from diverse backgrounds to work together to build a solution around it. And that is why I'm excited that in the last 3 days, we have formed this circle. Sitting there listening to the introductions, engineer this, architect that, architect doctor this, engineer doctor that, the experts in the built environment, you've made time to gather for us to build a circle of solutions around the challenges that we have in the built environment. I think we should start by giving ourselves a big round of applause that we have done this. The second point is that we have to now get some action beyond all the ideas that we've spoken about. The things we need to do, honestly, cannot be done in 1 year. In fact, in the 5 or so months left of this fiscal year, we can't do them all. So there are some priorities that at the Ministry of Works and Housing over the next 5 months we have elected to pursue. I want to briefly share those priorities with you. And then, for those that have come up as suggestions that we need to include in the medium to long-term solutions as an industry, as have been captured by the Honorable Deputy Minister in the day 1 takeaways, day 2 takeaways, and then day 3 takeaways, we will plot a path to pursue them. And hopefully every year we can gather at the beginning of each year to hold ourselves accountable. Have we succeeded in what we committed to do? Have you succeeded in what you committed to do? And gradually we will be able to make some headway in this built environment. I want to briefly highlight the 6 major priorities that for the next 5 months you will see us focus on at the ministry. Number 1, to strengthen the Hydro Authority and the Hydro Works. Number 2, to reorganize the housing department to better deliver on the housing challenges that we have. Number 3, in particular, to accelerate the affordable housing programs that we have them. Number 4, to commence a district housing program. Number 5, to strengthen our regulators. A lot of ideas have come up on the strengthening of our regulators. We'll start some this year. We'll continue some in the years ahead. And number 6, we want to digitize a few of our services. So for the next 5 months, these are our priority areas at the Ministry of Works and Housing. Now, in terms of strengthening hydro, you saw us on the first day launch the Hydro Fund, and we want to boost some more resources into the Hydro Fund so that the Hydro Authority can function properly as established by law. Number 2, we want to deepen hydro services in the regions and the districts. It's not enough having Hydro Authority sitting in Accra and, purporting to deal with all things across the country. We want to deepen their services in the regions and the districts. Number 3, some of the specialized projects under hydro, like Garrett, we need to fast track it. We've been honest to admit that Garrett is behind schedule in terms of implementation. We need to quicken its implementation, and then we need to extend the lessons from Garrett to some of the other major drainage channels, first in Accra and in other parts of the country. So in the next 5 months, these are the priorities at the Ministry of Works and Housing that we'll be pursuing to strengthen hydro. Now, there's a need to reorganize our housing department at the ministry. I'll tell you a funny story. We keep saying we have a housing deficit of about 1.8 million units, and yesterday you spoke extensively about all the things that need to be done. We only found out that we have a dedicated staff of just about 6 at the ministry who are purporting to deliver all the brilliant ideas that you came up with. That is obviously not fit for purpose. And so, working with the Office of the Head of Civil Service and the Management Services Division, we have made some proposals to them on how to reorganize the housing department and to bring in more professionals, more architects, more engineers, more real estate experts, people who understand the space, who can then implement the ideas that you have put together. And so we are putting up an urban housing unit which will now provide leadership for the execution of our affordable housing and our redevelopment programs. We are putting up a district housing unit which will ensure that our district housing program, using the compressed earth and local building technologies that you spoke about yesterday and gave good feedback on, to develop affordable, decent homes for Ghanaians, not just in Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, but in the 261 districts across the country. To also have a unit that will pay attention to public sector housing. A lot of us who work in the public sector are looking for the necessary accommodation that also facilitates our work. But we are cannibalizing all of it and not paying attention even to adding more units. So we want a unit that will pay attention to that. We are also now paying attention to global best practices on housing innovations and policies and how we can then adapt them here in Ghana. And then we are asking the Rural Housing Department to focus on technology certification and consulting for the projects that require the alternative technologies. These are proposals that currently are at the Office of the Head of Civil Service. Doc has informed me that he's put the MSD on it, and so we expect that before the end of the next 5 months, we can do these, may I say, institutional amendments that then strengthen the Housing Department and the Ministry of Works and Housing to deliver on what we are committing. Number 3, we want to accelerate our affordable housing projects. And we want to start by bringing to life the projects that seem dead. Saglem is one. President Kufuor's affordable housing project in Koforidua is another. You won't believe it, but it's still in the bush. And we can't start talking about new projects when we have left these ones unattended. The millions of Ghana cedis that have gone into them must be resolved. And so I'm sure you have followed the work we are doing on resolving Saglemi. Our hope is that somewhere next week we'll receive the bids from the private developers who we invited in the RFP, and then we can select a private developer to go and complete so that we can put Saglemi to use. Same with President Kufuor's affordable housing project in Koforidua. State Housing is going through that process, and hopefully we'll be able to get that one back on track and complete the projects that were started, even as we go forward. Pokwase is already underway. We are behind schedule. We are doing our best to fast track it. The Asante Hene gave us 200 acres in Kumasi at Dedesua. Again, we want to fast track work on that one. Number 3, and for us, what we consider the biggest thing, is to be able to put in place a private-public partnership framework backed by the incentives that you discussed yesterday. And we want to get cabinet and parliament approval that this is what Ghana wants to do to get the private sector to deliver on real affordable housing. It is, for us, one of the most important things that we can do. We don't expect that even we can finish executing or implementing projects under it in the next 5 months. But if together we are successful in delivering this framework and this incentives package, and we're successful in getting cabinet and parliamentary approval for it, whoever is my successor, whoever our successor at the ministry, can pick it up and implement it, and we can really, in the next 10 years, try and close this housing deficit that we've been talking about. We're also looking at stimulating the mortgage market and the rent-to-own market through the National Home Ownership Fund. Yesterday you heard the mortgage conversation and the people in charge of the NHF. We are learning lessons from Nigeria, Kenya, Morocco and other places which we're infusing into it, and our hope is that it can also stimulate the mortgage market so that when the units are developed, you and I can actually afford to get a mortgage that can pay for it, or a rent-to-own facility that can pay for it. And then we're also laying the Housing Authority bill before Parliament in the next 5 months. So to accelerate affordable housing, those are the things. We want to commence our district housing program with 20 districts as a pilot, using the resources we have currently under the National Home Ownership Fund. And the feedback that you gave yesterday on the affordable housing and on the compressed earth building technology, as well as the mortgage market, are the things that we are going to use in our effort to deliver this as well. Finally, we want to strengthen our regulators. The new rent bill, we will lay it before Parliament shortly, bearing in mind the inputs that you've made into it. And then we have just established a Works Inspectorate unit under the Works Department at the Ministry of Works and Housing to pay attention to convening the efforts of the Architects Registration Council, the Engineers Council, the works inspectors at the districts in particular, and ensuring that things like the building code, as passed in 2018 and outlawed, are implemented at the district level, to ensure that things like Section 6 of the Disability Act, which requires all public buildings to have disability access points for our brothers and sisters who are physically challenged, is adhered to ensure that health and safety standards at public work sites is adhered to. So there are a number of pieces of legislation around us. There are a number of agencies and authorities that are responsible to ensure that those regulations are put in place. What we have done is to put up a Works Inspectorate unit aimed at encouraging them to actually get on the work and get it done. It's one of the things that you're going to see us do. We've piloted it, I think, in some of our visits in the eastern region and parts of the country, and we're hoping to do a lot more there. So, colleagues, the first part of my presentation is to say to you that in the next 5 months, we can't do all that you have said. These are the ones that we are prioritizing, and hopefully in January next year, we will account to you on how much of this we have been able to implement, even as we look to including the other suggestions that you've made in the work plan for 2025. And every year, if you keep at this, together we fashion out the solutions, hold ourselves accountable, and implement a bit more of them. I want to say to you that we should all expect that there will be some discomfort in implementation. Many of us are stuck to our old ways of getting some work done. And it's those old ways that are creating the problems we have today. So if we're going to bring about the change, there will be some discomfort. But I want to ask you that each of us be ready to pay the price for our collective good. The old ways that we've been doing things that we want to change from will require some discomfort. Not everybody can keep doing their old things 100%. But we must each be willing to pay the price to get the results that we are looking for. We also require a bit of a mindset change. Sometimes listening through the memorying and part of the conversations, when you hear some of the ideas, you hear a comment that, oh, where they ain't to me yet. Where they ain't yet. But I think if we come to it with a mindset that we can do this, the people who have done this in other parts of the world, with the greatest of respect to you, they are human beings like you and us. You and I are just like them. And so we also need a bit of a paradigm shift in our thinking that we can actually make these things work here in the Republic of Ghana. And if we put our shoulders to wheel, we can make it happen. My last 3 points. First is to Chief Director, the directors, and the team at the ministry, Doctor at the Office of the Head of Civil Service. My prayer to you is that we keep this platform, this Built Environment National Conference on Hydrology and Housing. We should keep it. Let's not let it die in the next 2-3 years. Because listening to all of you and seeing all of you here, the best brains in this sector are in this room today. And if every year we gather and think through the solutions and work together, we can fast track the kind of results that we are looking for. So I pray you that you let this platform subsist and survive, and you build on it year on year, because it is the best place to get all the ideas that you need. One man cannot do it alone. The ministry cannot solve the problem alone. The engineers, the engineering council can't do it. Architects, registration, works inspectors can't do it alone. It is the collective. And so I pray you that you keep this platform and then you make it happen. I want to make a point of thanking our sponsors who have paid for everything that we have here today. Zara Developers, Minerals Income Investment Fund, Jemba Solutions, Q3 Limited of the Magdan Group, Macam Plant Hire, Octagon Development Limited, First National Bank, Republic Bank, Dredge Masters, and Volux Company Limited. Let's give them a big round of applause. They have sponsored everything that we have here. And my final request to you is that when we send you the questionnaire, please take a few moments to fill the questionnaire for us, because your feedback is very important to us. It is what will guide us as we prepare to take this to the next level. I thank you and I wish you all the best.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our Sector Minister, the Honorable Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah MP. We thank you for your organizational brilliance that has shown through every step of the way of this conference. How many of us want this conference to be replicated? Okay, then I have a suggestion. Can we develop a fund for it? Think about that. But saying thank you on behalf of the conference, the organizers, and all stakeholders, please make welcome our chair for this conference, Professor Victor Kwame Ajiman, the chairman of the Public Services Commission.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have 3 things to do. Do not panic. They are all very short things. 1 is to show appreciation to some special group. The second one is recently I've got to know that there's a difference between showing appreciation and a vote of thanks. I don't know if you also have noticed that. So I'll also do a little bit of giving a vote of thanks. And then finally, I will stand on the authority that has been given to me as by the organizers, by the minister, as the chairman, to really close the conference. All too soon, Honorable Minister, Honorable Deputy Minister, Head of Service, Chief Director and Directors, executives of professional bodies, media, distinguished participants, and the handsome Jerry. All too soon, we have to bring a close to this wonderful conference. And before I do that, I would like to show our appreciation to the Honorable Deputy Minister, the Chief Director, and the team. I would like all the organizing committee, Honorable Deputy Minister and your team, to come forward for us to show our appreciation to them. So all the organizers, please come forward. They have done a very good job. Please let us show our appreciation to them. I would like to say that this has been a well-planned event. You know, the sessions, we've had a very good facilitator. Jerry has been excellent. So we found out that we have almost always closed before our time. The participation has been excellent. The speakers have delivered. And can we have a photograph? And please let us express our appreciation to them. They have set a very high standard, and we are hoping that the team that will plan for subsequent events will actually Jerry says that take care.
You and Minister should go and congratulate them.
All right. I think Honorable Minister and Head of Service, Jerry is saying there has to be a photo. We have to complete the Photoshop by congratulating them. So.
A round of applause. Prof. Chair.
Now to the second item. First of all, that's to the vote of thanks. And I would like to express my appreciation, first of all, to the Almighty God, that we are all here, and that we know that He will also take us back safely. Honorable Minister, this is one of the, best conferences I've attended. The food is good, the venue is good, the participants, you've all been excellent. So I think we need to express our appreciation to everybody for this. We also want to give special recognition to the executives of the professional bodies. Prof. Wellington, Dr. Boache, and a lot of people. You see, when you see, I call them the wise men, because to have gray hairs is really it is no mean achievement. For them to come in and sit through 3 days shows the commitment, and we have to express our appreciation to the wise man in the house. So thank you very much for coming. We also have to, the media has been fantastic. except that, as I said in the morning, we need to go beyond just what the Honorable Minister gave, the 1.5 million, to other good things. But you have been excellent. So let us show our appreciation to the media. To the handsome, distinguished gentleman. Where is Jerry? He's disappeared. So, or is he in? Yes. I wanted us, when he comes in, we can surprise him. Is he around? By shouting Jerry, and then we clap. So we'll wait till he comes in. To all of us, the distinguished participants, let us all have a show of appreciation. I would like to, in closing, first of all, draw our attention to the theme of the conference. That is, enhancing collaboration to tackle Ghana's housing and hydrology challenges. If you look at, the website and the brochures that were given to you, one of the key objectives of the conference was to come out with innovative solutions and to chart a course towards a more sustainable and resilient future of our housing and hydrology subsectors, and also to provide a framework for stakeholder engagement. The expectations of the organizers, and I'm sure of all of us, was that we'll provide a roadmap towards solving all the numerous challenges. When we came here, I said that yesterday, that the comments were, we've done this before, we've heard all the challenges, we've offered solutions, nothing seems to be happening. Why are we here today? But from what the Honorable Minister said during the closing remarks, I'm sure you will all agree that yes, indeed, the issues that we have discussed, the recommendations that we have made will surely, and that's what he said, it will be included in the ministry's priority programs, and those challenges addressed. So we are definitely sure that our recommendations will be implemented. And for this, we are even going to show our appreciation to the ministry. And once we've shown appreciation, they would know that we know that they have done what we have recommended. So let us show our appreciation to the ministry that they have already implemented our comments. So, Honorable Minister, you've given a promise, and I know you are a man who actually implements whatever you say. So we're sure that all our recommendations will be implemented. And on that note, is the young man still around? Is Jerry around? I don't know why he's disappeared. But by the powers that have been conferred on me by the organizers, the Honorable Minister, the Deputy Minister, Head of Service, and all the players, I have the pleasure and the honor to declare the 2024 Bench Conference duly the lawyers, when you go to court, the minister is a lawyer. So do we say adjourned or closed? Because we're going to have, God willing, one next year. So this conference is duly adjourned till next year. Thank you very much. Jerry. I didn't know you were hiding.
You can never surprise me.
Let's express our appreciation once again for him.